our gut. And once that is restored, a lot of issues clear up.
Yeah, I just want to, like I said, I just want to put back whatever's necessary. I don't want, I don't want any extra. I just want the microbes that are necessary. No, no, no. What do you call those? Um, Jeez, I can't think of shit anymore. Stowaways. Yeah, no stowaways.
All right. Well, we'd gladly ship you some of our own soil. We swear by it, and it
Yeah, yeah,
is a
yeah, yeah.
resident
I
flavor.
think I'd be swearing at it. You know, yeah. Cowbox sent me a box of dried shit. Thank you. It needs to go through a few more meat grinders. Yeah, yeah. It's got to be a little farther removed.
You're really good shit, man.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah. Yeah, cabbage. I always buy a ton of cabbage. You know, at St. Patrick's Day, it goes down like 8 cents a pound. And so I always buy like 7 or 8 heads of cabbage and just shove them in the refrigerator. They last pretty long, so I find cabbage edible.
Even the tip of not so fastidiously washing your produce. Some people just scrub and sterilize what comes out of the garden. If a light rinsing to get the grosser matter off, but often that leaves enough of the microorganisms intact
Yeah, but
that just simply
it
needs to
also
rinse
leaves the
produce.
salmonella intact and all the other little negatives. So I guess I'm still gonna I'd rather avoid the nasty microbes and kill a few of the good ones along the way. I mean, it's better to shoot
Well,
first
we
and
admit,
ask questions later.
we admit it's a mixed bag. It's more of the question: is there a healthy balance?
Yeah, well, I say boil it. When in doubt, boil it. Yeah.
Because what I suspect is the antibiotics have wiped out the colony in your colon, and the colon we find out is where the polysaccharides digest.
Yeah, so he closed his mic. Yeah, he did.
Please close his mic.
No, no, he didn't yet. You gotta close your mic, cooled.
Close your mic, cool.
Cool, cooled, the cool. Gotta do it soon.
I know it's
10, 9. I'm gonna interact with
nine.
you.
I'm going to
I'm
interact with
interacting. Colon microbes. Yes, I just interacted. Gave him some colon microbes. Yes, from off my shoe. Yes. Um, but yeah, no, I'm more like I say, I'm working on it, but I haven't actually started shoving shit up my ass. But maybe I'll resort to that. But we'll see how it goes. If I can get them to go down there from up here, that's what I'm going to try to do. Try to get them to go down there from the top first. But yeah, if worst comes to worst, I have to start shoving shit up there. I'll do it.
Great new video series on the way.
Yes, that might be the magic video. Suppositories. How to. I could do a whole series of suppository videos. Yes.
Genius.
Yes, it might be my calling. All of this jibber jabber about philosophy and physics? No. But plug videos. That's the way to go.
Could have been setting stuff up for this entire time.
Well, Wittgenstein examined his stool on a daily basis for its prognostic
Yeah, well,
value.
that was another
You,
guy
you
who I
know,
didn't have any use for. So that's kind of fits now. No wonder why he was an idiot. Yeah, I
I'm
thought
glad
he
they
was a
left
lunatic, so now
That would
that
have been a great
fits.
scene.
You know. Yeah, I take a passing glance once in a while, but it always gives me a little bit of a fright. Pooh scares me. Yeah, gives me a willy. It's a real boner killer.
Oh, there are joys. There are joys uh, unimaginable with a healthy stool.
Oh yeah,
We're very
no.
proud of the fact that
Yeah.
we can squirt as far as any cow in the field.
Yeah, well, I'm just not terribly interested. Squirting poo, no. No, thank you. Projectile pooing. Yes, no.
Well, it can come in handy when the police lay their hands on you.
Well, that I already knew. I already knew I was gonna, poo and vomit the day they arrest me. Yes, I'm gonna do whatever I fucking can in that back seat to make it as unpleasant as possible for the little fuckers.
Well, that's how we protest this war. We haven't bathed in 14 years now.
Yeah.
The only trouble is the smell hasn't yet to reach Washington.
Mm. Well, you keep trying. You be the little engine that could. Yeah, be the first person to actually send a smell out of Texas that wasn't already. It's already Texas, right? It's already riding on the smell wave. you know, you're gonna outsmell Texas. That's saying something, buddy. uh, I smell shittier than Texas.
That's
Yeah,
the
you can get a
smell of
t-shirt.
money.
You can get the t-shirt, right? I smell shittier than Texas.
Be a good name for a B movie, The Stench That Stopped All War. I can see it.
Yeah, well, I guess it is. They probably have biological warfare of that kind already in the books, right? They probably already have some kind of, what's the most obnoxious smell people can make? And let's cover our soldiers in it.
Well, we did warn all the hunger strikers that we would end up burying them.
Hunger. So I mean, that's another one I'll have to think about for a while before I'll get that joke. We did warn the hunger strikers that we would bury them.
If you remember at the beginning, there were all sorts. There's always all sorts who go on hunger strike, and quite frankly, the government doesn't care.
Yeah, well, I plan on doing it eventually. Eventually, I figured that's a good way to go out, is just go on a hunger strike. Yeah, I was going to commit suicide anyway, but I think I'll go on a hunger strike first. Just for the hell of it. Just to see if it'll work. Yeah, why not?
It worked for Goodle.
Yeah, well, I suppose it worked for some people, but, some people get lucky in life, and, some people get unlucky.
And to think we're the lucky ones.
Well, luckier are less unlucky. Yes, less unlucky. I guess that's what I would say. Yes, I'm less unlucky than most. Well, I guess I'm less unlucky than everyone, because I wouldn't want to be anybody else. Everybody else looks like they're in a terrible mess. It scares the hell out of me. Be one of those commoners? Oh, fuck. Just acting, just going through the motions of an existence. Ugh, grinding away. Yeah, well, Einstein was wrong about relativity, and it probably also goes for smells. There's probably no smell relativity. There's probably just absolute smell. Damn, these batteries are not doing it. I need a cigarette that smokes, baby. Need my nicotine.
I the only artist here who has used shit as a medium?
Well, on purpose. Yeah,
Oh,
I'm sure I've used some now and then, but yeah, whoops. But yeah, I do remember yeah, you're a very good sculptor, you know. But yeah, those are probably you probably still don't have those because they probably shriveled up and died. But that was another one of your more brilliant videos.
There's a guy here in San Francisco
I don't think
named
that was made out of
Steve.
shit. I think it was a bronze, wasn't it, Erwin?
oh, hang on. This
No, he has an actual. He made actual little shit characters in one video.
he's aluminum.
It was
Yeah,
aluminum.
that one is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that one. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, well, you made one out of
One
dog
of
shit. In one of your videos,
Calaveras.
in one of your videos, you made sculpture out of dog shit, right?
Oh well, that was we had flung some dog shit at the wall. We wanted to see what would stick.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That was funny. I remember that.
There's an artist here in San Francisco named Steven, and
it eventually
he creates all of his art out of body fluid.
Yeah, well, yeah, I don't know if that's see again. That's where that word art gets a little bit fudgy. Yeah, I don't know if that counts.
Oh, sure it does. Why not?
Well, it's sort of like counting the Special Olympics and saying that's athleticism. You know, I don't know if the Special Olympics is really athleticism. You know.
Well, in painting, gamboge yellow was obtained from the urine of Indian cows fed a certain plant.
Yeah, I just use yellow. Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
I play it safe. Yeah.
That's what Steve does with himself. He ingests different things to produce different kinds of body fluids. He also uses blood.
I have not yet
And
sculpted his shit.
so
I don't see any.
you
I don't.
figured out-
The opportunity.
figured out how to create
I
every color there is
you know,
from the human
I
body.
mean, I could do it any time, certainly, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's a medium I'm going to experiment with, but I've always kind of wanted to, truth be told. Because it seems like a fun thing to have an excuse to do, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I'd sooner paint with my penis. I think that's kind of cool. The people who paint with their penises.
There is.
That
His name is
cowboy guy.
Picasso or something like that.
Yeah, he wears a cowboy hat. It's pretty funny.
Picasso. He paints with his penis. He's really good too. He's a really good portrait painter.
Yes.
Well, I recall being in art school that when Manzoni canned his own shit and then sold it for its weight in gold. So,
Yeah, again, I don't know if that's really, that's kind of Special Olympics art, you know, it's kind of, yeah, well, you know, you didn't think very hard, did you? Yeah, you know, that's not trying very hard.
it was immediately duplicated by every art student.
Yes,
in
yeah, it's
college.
pretty easy to forge shit. Yeah, you know.
There is a whole line of freshmen, shit projects like, I'm gonna go to the store and buy every kind of potato chip there is. And the potato chips will all produce different poop. And it's an excellent final project. I've seen it several times. Really terrific.
You've seen it several
Some of them get really creative.
love.
One guy liked, took some, food coloring, made sure that each particular variety of potato chip was its own, non-brown, entirely, had some spectrum to it.
Well, that's just one of those things where I don't need to be there to see that. Yes, I don't ever need to. I don't need to been there and see that. No. We'll take a pass.
Yeah, it kind of looks like she wanted you to pretend like you were the one potato chip. What the fuck?
Who projected the potato chipness on me? What?
No, I didn't project it, but I'm just saying, like, it was almost like you wanted Gary to, like either become or, like, love one of the potato chips.
I don't even know what you're talking about, but that's okay.
I assure you that was not my intention.
You know,
Well, you
Bandit's
know the
always...
difference between chopped beef and pea soup. Anybody can chop beef. Not everybody can pea soup.
Well, I'd almost argue
So
that...
saith the shepherd, so saith the flock.
Yeah, so... So yeah, I mean, I would have to see this pea souping thing. I don't think Jesus peed soup. But anyway, I guess there's hope, right? People keep trying.
I've seen people puke pea soup in The Exorcist.
That was a brutal movie. Brutal movie.
Oh, that movie is hilarious.
Well, you had to be there.
It was kind of a creepy, scary movie. It was a creepy '70s movie. It scared the shit out of me.
Well, I'm just saying you had to be there. Yeah, for the time when it came out, it really was quite brutal in the sense of just this, the brutality to a kid and all that kind of, it really had some really hard images that people just weren't used to.
The hospital stuff is really bad. When she's getting her brain scanned and they're like injecting her in her throat, and that was the stuff that really bothered me in that movie. I didn't give a shit about the like Jesus fuck you scene or whatever. That was fun.
Well,
Well,
yeah, but I
are
mean,
y'all transported by cinema? Does cinema still hold that magic over you? We've grown so blind. Much happens and nothing. But
well, there's probably still,
you away from yourself.
there's probably still a movie running in your head, though, right? I mean, you still got movies running in your head. So I'm just saying, yeah, I mean, cinema for me is, I don't watch movies, but I have them running on these digital frames, and I like movies. I mean, if I have free time, if I had such something called free time, I would spend it watching movies because I enjoy movies. But yeah, modern movies kind of suck. So yeah, there's not much of an attraction. And yeah, I guess there's a point where you've been there and done that. You've sort of seen the same story over and over again. It's all Romeo and Juliet and Hamlet, and it's all the same Shakespeare plays just redone. It's all a formula.
Yeah, the last good movie that I saw that actually like had any impact on me was The Exorcist. And the father comes walking up those stairs, and that whole scene. I thought that was actually a really good movie.
Yeah, that's the last movie. I don't think it was your last movie, but whatever. Whatever.
Well, anyway, did you like it?
I didn't think The Exorcist was a great movie. I mean, I just really didn't. It was just kind of brutal. So, I actually liked the second, the Heretic movie better because it was a more interesting story. So, it had a lot more character to it than The Exorcist. The Exorcist was just this possession shit, and it was just too long. You know what I mean? It was just this. It was like watching a 9/11 show or something. It was like watching an emergency room or something. Like, why would I want to watch that?
I always thought the second movie was much better photographed, at least in parts. The whole Pazuzu thing was really well done, and Linda Blair was just very well photographed in that movie. I don't know. I like the third one too, to tell you the truth. But
third one, I'm trying to remember. That was the Catholic Church one.
Actually, it had that like panache about it, and it had like people like scuttling into the cinema to see what happened, and I think it was a really like great like Friedman made that movie. I thought it was actually well.
Yeah, I just don't think
made.
I don't think it,
scary movie.
I don't think it held up to things like Apocalypse Now or all the other, when you think of all the other movies that came out in those times. I'm just saying it wasn't, it was kind of like Poseidon Adventure. It was interesting, but it wasn't, it wasn't a great movie.
It's pretty beloved though, and it is it. The only thing that about The Exorcist that really has fascinated me over the years is the continued hysteria about it. I mean, there are still people that are just absolutely terrified of that movie. I still don't think it can be shown on British television, although UK is kind of a special example. But I mean, it's just so consistently banned, and still.
That movie did
The
transform
thing
the
about that movie, though,
horror
it's not
genre.
like a scary movie, like, oh yeah, okay, here comes like one of these characters and they pop out. It's just that whole like, you know, supernatural thing where the devil, you know, obviously fucking takes over this little girl's body and
But isn't
all
that
that creepy
totally
shit.
unbelievable?
It's kind of fucked up.
Isn't that totally unbelievable? I mean, that part didn't bother me. I mean, the whole devil thing was just, I didn't even pay attention to that. Um, like I said, the only thing that bothered me is just the gross images are just very sympathetic. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's just this, the gross images are just gross. So that to me was the only part that meant anything.
Oh, yeah, I mean, if you want to be intellectual about any movie, I mean, you can be like, oh, well, this is kind of like lame and
Well, I'm
whatever.
just saying.
But it's like the
Obviously,
whole, like,
there's
the
no
whole, like,
way.
the whole
There's
sense of
no
the
way
movie
I'm
is,
gonna be. I'm gonna be in any way psychologically traumatized by the thought of Pazuzu. I mean, I don't. There's no way I can even in my wildest imagination, contrive a fear of there actually existing a Pazuzu.
I don't think that's the point. The point was.
Well, have you ever had a movie that, like, kind of creeps you out or, like, scares you a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, all the Freddy Nightmares movie creep. I couldn't watch those movies because they're all torture scenes, and I find torture offensive. So I guess that's what I'm saying about The Exorcist. It had this element that seemed very tortured, and I don't find it pleasurable to watch things suffer. It's not something I get off on, so I find it unpleasant to watch.
No, I mean, have you ever, like, watched a movie that, like, actually scared you that didn't have, obviously, any of, like, the torture or scary, like, shit like that, like something,
Well, I
like,
mean,
ooh,
what do
that's
you
kind
mean
of creepy
by
movie.
scared? I mean, scared you mean that you knew it was coming and it comes and and you say, but it still kind of makes you, ooh. Yeah, and so I could say that all the Friday the 13th movies all had scenes in them where, you knew it was coming, but you didn't know exactly how it was coming. And, it would jolt you a little bit when you see the knife coming out of somebody's eyeball. But, yeah, so you get a little, oh, ooh, knife coming out of the eyeball, ooh.
Yeah, do you like those? Like, do you like to get that, like, little bit of scare?
He really doesn't like horror movies.
Yeah, I really am not at all interested in horror movies. This really is a fact. Yeah, but yeah, I find movies scary when there's some kind of danger, and especially when I was a kid. I'd do this thing. Oh no, what's going to happen? No, no. Something horrible is going to happen. So yeah, I don't like horrible things to happen.
I, on the other hand, eat the breakfast, lunch, and dinner, fortunately. But yeah.
Same here, same here. Love them, love horror, love it.
Yeah, I just don't get it. I just don't get like
The
I said,
last
they all involve this chasing down thing, and I just, that the whole trauma of somebody being afraid. I hate fear is just that's the hardest thing for me to watch somebody in fear. Fear is the most, the darkest emotion from my perspective.
Yeah, the last one.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the fun thing about those movies. They, like, give you that, like, that emotion that you don't normally, like, get to.
Well, I guess I've lived it enough that, so to me, terror is something I've lived with my whole life. So I guess it's, why would I find it appealing to watch something else suffering it? I just don't. But it's a matter of taste and blah, blah, blah. I don't do roller coasters either. And there's a lot of things I don't do.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's a total, like, you just said it right there. I mean, it's like, okay, you don't like it, then oh well, that is what it is.
Yes. Yeah, I was just disappointed what cable TV turned into, because when cable TV first came out, they used to do surgeries on. You could watch somebody having open heart surgery. You could watch gallbladder operations. You could watch all kinds of operations, and it was just the operation. It wasn't a show. It wasn't bullshit. It was just the operation, and that was perfectly acceptable to me. But then they turned it into this 9/11 shit, where they show, they reenact the trauma of the accident and then reenact the emergency room and reenact, and you're like, I don't want to see this. This is horrible, So I mean, it's just it's a matter of taste. Yeah, to some people, it's the adventure means something, and to me, that's the part that's, it's not an adventure you want to relive. I don't. I remember reading, what do you call those, condensed novels? Whatever's the company that does the condensed novels? Reader's Digest. My parents used to get Reader's Digest. And they always had a story in there, real life story things. And they were horrible. Like some guy got eaten by a bear or something, and you're reading this shit. And I realized one day, I just said, why am I reading this? I'm reading a story about a guy getting eaten by a bear. It was just horrible.
What the Reader's Digest did to the Holy Bible is unforgivable.
They ignore it? Yeah, no, I don't think that's unforgivable. This book isn't good enough for a condensed version. Yeah.
Well, they took the King James and made it accessible to the everyman.
Yeah, well, I could do that too. The story is Jesus, his mother's a fucking crack whore slut, gets knocked up, has Jesus. Jesus is told the lie, okay, of the Immaculate Conception. Buys into this idea that I have to be somebody. Comes up with some wacky live off the land theory. Creates a little bit of a cult that can provide him with enough creature comforts to get by on. One of the cult members asked him, "Why are you a hypocrite, motherfucker?" His answer is, "Fuck you. You and the poor can go eat shit." Yeah. And then Judas does the right thing, turns the motherfucker in, and they all lived happily ever after.
Jewish humor.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not Jewish, but yeah, okay. A Jew would probably find it hilarious. But yeah, I mean, Jesus was a joke. The poor you will have with you always. I'm the savior. I come to save you. Except the poor. Fuck them. Yeah, they'll have them always. Fuck the poor. So, but yeah, Christianity's just got so many holes in it.
So do our teeth.
Yeah, they both suck. I don't have anything good to say about Christianity or teeth. Yeah.
What teeth? What teeth?
Yeah.
Well, that's true. We're getting ever better at extraction. We've progressed. They come out with hardly any effort these days.
Yeah, well, the last time I had a tooth pulled, it was not a fun adventure, actually. It took a fucking week before I was feeling normal.
My mouth has never been the same when I had my wisdom teeth taken out. Like the tip of my tongue was still numb. It never stopped. The Novocaine never wore off. It was a nasty operation.
I've just got a British passport and they fell out on their own.
Ah!
Yeah, well, yeah, I wish it worked that way. Yeah, I wish they would just evaporate when the time comes. But yeah, teeth. Don't even talk about teeth. Teeth. Yeah, I've had some horrible misadventures with teeth.
Well, yeah, I just found like funny. It's like, no, what I always found funny is that like Gary lives in kind of like one of those areas where there's a lot of those, questions. Oh well, did this happen? Did that happen? A lot of haunted houses or whatever down in Jersey. I just like to understand, or will actually ask, have you ever like come across anybody or anybody that you like? Have you believed in any of that?
Mumbly bumbly 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 boo blah blah blah. What? There's haunted houses in New Jersey?
No, not
Oh
mumbling.
my God, haunted houses! Oh no, you mean like whatever that was called, that silly movie about the absolute nothing, the scary flies on the
Amityville
window.
Horror.
Yes, the scary flies on the window. Ooh, there's flies on the window. Ooh, that was the scariest part of the movie.
No, no, I mean, just out of curiosity, has anything happened in your house, like, where you're like, whoa, that's kind of creepy?
Oh, yeah, it has nothing to do with ghosts. It has to do with like the cat coughing something up.
No, I didn't say it was like a ghost, but I mean, have you ever had anything that's like, oh, that's kind of
No,
weird?
no, of course I've never had any such experience, or then I'd be some kind of whack job like you who thinks the universe functions that way and the little ghosts are satisfied with the humans being created because it would be silly to have ghost haunting gorillas. If the only thing on earth was the smartest thing on earth was gorillas, would the ghost have any fun? No, it really suck. Oh, we don't have anything to do but goof on gorillas? Well, goofing on gorillas is no fun.
Well, basically what I'm asking is, do you think that there's anything outside of, like, the norm? Do you think there's any, like,
No, I don't
experiences you
believe
get?
there's any. I mean, how clear can I make it? I'm an evolutionist. I believe evolution created us and that there's no extra special fancy sauce anywhere. It's all just shit sauce.
I'm afraid we're the creepiest thing that ever happened to our house.
Yeah, well, you come on. I don't know if you. I don't. Well, ties maybe there's a few ties, but yeah, you are the house.
Well,
You could
the
say
neighbors don't call to visit.
yeah. You could call yourself really. You're kind of like a turtle. You really are your house. you know, it's genetically part of you technically. There's Abba again. Yay! Oh, he's gone. Damn. Let's see, Gary, do you think there's some tiny possibility that there may be some force pulling the streets other than evolution at play? Pulling the streets? Streets other than evolution at play. I don't even know what that means. But no, what's the possibility? Unicorns really do exist? Leprechauns? Tinkerbell? Willy Wonka
Well, ladies and
world?
gentlemen, I have to say good night. It's 3 o'clock in the morning here, and I have to get to work and compose some music before Sunday. So
Excellent.
it's been nice meeting you all, and especially you, Erwin.
Oh, our pleasure, sir.
Hail Neruda! They've been reading them a lot at the poetry readings here in San Francisco because February we usually do a lot of Neruda. Please tune in sometime at the Sacred Grounds and listen.
Will
Night,
do,
night.
sir. Sacred grounds, yes, sir.
Sacred Grounds Cafe, San Francisco. Every Wednesday night, there's a poetry thing that goes from 7 till 10. It's on the internet. You can see it. Ta-ta.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Natural. It's good seeing you. Sorry about your bad leg and such, but, that's the liability of getting old. You were advised against it. You did it anyway. What can I say? You asked for it.
Have a good night,
I
Mr.
thought-
Natural. It's great seeing you again.
I thought I would have gone first before my body, but it seems they're replacing it piece by piece. I must be stubborn as hell.
Yeah.
Good night, everyone. Good night, Alaska.
Keep on trucking and such. So anyway,
So, Mr. Gary, are you an ambitious man? Would you like to play to a larger room? We know you have many more viewers than us. Did you ever consider currying a larger audience?
Yeah, well, I don't know how to curry them actually, so I guess I considered it, but the formula of currying I haven't figured out yet. I mean, currying in some honest way, you know. I mean, I don't want to curry in a dishonest way, but yeah, I'm just not too good at currying. But I certainly want to at least have my argument heard. You know, give it at least a chance to impact the cerebrums of people. But I figure if I win the Nobel Prize, that'll do it. So that's all I gotta do. If I win the Nobel Prize, that'll do it. That'll do, pig. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I
I'll
mean,
just stand next to myself and go,
well,
that'll
but
do, pig.
there's a lot of flaws in your argument.
I don't see any of them, and especially not from you.
Well, yeah, because you don't hear them. But you do have a
Well,
lot
you
of
don't
flaws.
have an argument. You don't have any. Well, I'm sorry. You can keep saying there's flaws, but yeah, I have to like the flaw is I don't like it. Yeah, well, I don't care what you like.
No, well, well, no, you still have no, you still have no resolve dark matter or dark energy, which is pretty much 99.9%
Yeah. Well,
of
I'm
the
not going to
universe.
argue it. I don't have to resolve dark matter and dark energy because these aren't even real things anyway. Theoretically, they're on the edge. So I'm just saying, what do you want me to do about resolving them? You want me to account for something I don't have to account for? Well, I'm not going to waste my time doing that.
Well, you can choose not to account for it, but I mean, we
Look,
know
look,
that
it's not my
math.
obligation, okay? We know what a unification theory has to do, and all it has to do is show the connection between gravity, magnetism, electricity, and the nuclear forces. That I can do.
Yeah, well, that's completely fine, but you still haven't been able to resolve why there's dark matter and dark
Oh, I'm
energy,
not going to argue
which
this
makes up
shit. I
most of
am
the
not
universe.
going to continually argue this shit. I'm not saying I can't resolve it. I have spent no time attempting it. You're saying I can't do something I've spent no time trying to do. That makes some sort of sense? I'm not going to waste my time on some marginal part of physics. I'm going to deal with the real physics first, shit for brain.
The marginal part of it, you're actually just disrespecting 99.9% of it.
Well, whatever. That's your phantasmagorical nonsense. If you ask physicists, what is physics about? Nuclear forces, magnetism, electricity, and gravity, or is it about dark matter?
Well, it's about all of it.
No, it's not about all of it. Some of it is there are contrivances that don't have any proven reality. I don't have to account for extra gravity because my theory won't need extra gravity. So I don't need to create dark matter to resolve a gravitational problem.
So, just out of curiosity, what's your explanation for all the matter that's in between everything else?
Well, you're saying there's all the matter. Obviously, there's not that much matter, or how would the light get here, retard? There's light that's gotten here from 15 billion light years away. It traveled across the most gigantic space you could possibly imagine, and it didn't hit any of this dark matter, did it?
That's actually a really, really curious question.
Yeah, I think it really is. So anyway. Really is hopeless to talk to the human race, though. So just gonna keep desperately. What? What about those people that saw the pink unicorn? How do you account for them? They saw it.
No, well, I don't think it's bad for me to ask those questions, though. I think those are, like, respectable questions.
Well, I don't think they're respectable in the sense that you don't seem to understand the concept here. You know, we're talking about the idea of the great thing that Einstein couldn't accomplish in his life, the unification theory, the thing that science, physics has been seeking for 100 years, right? And you're saying it's going to be based on explaining dark energy or dark matter, and obviously, in my opinion, it's not going to have anything to do with that. It's going to have to do with physics, real physics.
No, I understand what you're saying, and you're just putting words in my mouth. I mean, I'm just saying that that dark matter and that dark energy, we know it's there. It has a mass. That's why they know it's there. But you just want to fucking say,
They
hey,
don't
fuck it,
know it's
whatever.
there.
I don't wanna
Again, you're going to
acknowledge it.
say it has a mass. It doesn't have a mass. That's the whole fucking point. It's gravity, you idiot. It's not mass. If it was mass, they could say, look, it's mass. There it is. You can see it.
It's
They can
beyond
measure it.
our. This is beyond our expertise. But we have seen a unicorn. It was 1978 at the Texas Renaissance Festival, and prominently featured. And it was a unicorn, hair, hoof, and stink, because people were expecting the equine. It was actually a caprine, a goat unicorn. There
Yeah, I've
is
seen
the
those.
occasional mutation
I've
where
seen
the two aren't
those.
fused.
Yeah, there's also some nasty mutations that happen when people forcibly stick a fucking horn in its head.
Oh, yeah. Yes, that too is a practice. They will surgically graft the horns together.
Cat's got its
This
paws
is
stuck.
Alright,
actually,
so Gary, out of curiosity, what's all the other mud that's between everything? What is the fucking mud?
void. Form is void, and void is form.
Well, look,
That is
obviously,
the great Buddhist equation.
obviously the universe has a lot of dust in it in certain places, and the dust is consolidating, and so that you can account for. I mean, the gravity they can't account for is the gravity between galaxies and stuff like that. And what's holding these big, these big networks together. Even galaxies themselves, they really can't account for enough mass at the center of the gravity, enough mass at the center of the galaxy to be able to hold the galaxy together. So I mean, these are all equation problems, but I don't know if those dynamics are something I can solve or something I can't solve, but that doesn't really have anything to do with what the cause of gravity is. The cause of gravity will not explain that
Well,
those.
gravity is because of the planets, or because of large mass.
I know, but you can't have spiral gravity, between planets. You have to come up with a mass in the center somewhere. It's either the thing's flying apart or the thing's pulling together, and that's the question. But I'm just saying, I don't. It's not a subject I need to go to do what I want to do. What's to my purpose. So I don't have to go there yet. But I'm sure my gravitational theory will explain black holes, and it'll explain the limitation on the size of mass and why masses can't get any denser or can't get any bigger. It'll create all those rules.
Yeah, but how about a galaxy pulling down on another galaxy?
Well, if you've seen the pictures of how they do it, they don't seem to do it in a manner that would seem reflective of gravity being the cause. They kind of crash into each other in very strange ways, not in like pulled together kind of ways. It's always like they're almost like there's no gravity between them, and one just smashes right through the other one.
So what do you think pulls one, like, what do you think would pull the Milky Way into the Andromeda Galaxy? Like, what do you think's doing that?
Well, whether or not it's happening is an issue first, and then second, obviously it's the mass of what's in the object, right? It's the collection of all of the bits that creates the collective gravity. So you measure the entire weight or mass of the galaxy to decide the mass of the galaxy. And that's not that easy to determine when you can't necessarily see the mass because it doesn't have any light reflecting off of it, or it doesn't have any light it's producing. So I'm just saying that these questions are kind of just bullshit, because we don't know whether it's just tiny particles. It's like Saturn's rings, right? Until we went there, we didn't really know what they were, and then we find out that it's just a bunch of sand.
Right. So until our galaxy gets like swallowed up, which is happening slowly. Like, what do we do? Just hypothesize about it?
I don't think I have any. Why would we, me, as part of this collective we, give an absolute shit about the fucking galaxy crashing into another galaxy? You're not gonna live another. The human race isn't gonna survive another 1,000 years, let alone a million, let alone 10 million.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I'm just saying, like, we can talk about it though.
Well, I'm trying.
That we're in the Kali Yuga, which is a very bad time. It typically lasts 8,000 years to the cycle. We're just now starting the 4,000 year.
Yeah, well,
at the end of the Kali Yuga, everything blows to hell anyway.
Yeah, well, I don't think it's going to take that long. I don't think when they wrote the Kagaluga, they were aware of the atom smasher and the nuclear bombs potential to unravel the matter very quickly.
But if you ask the knowing Hindu, they will tell you bad times started about 4,000 years ago.
Yeah, well, I think they started about 150,000 years ago when the first human caught something on fire. The old fruit of the tree of knowledge. Knowledge of me cool, you suck. Yeah, that's the first crime. Calling somebody a them. As soon as they invented the word them, that's the bad time started.
Yeah, now if we could just find the tree of life, we could become like God.
Yeah, I was just thinking that I would be looking for the couch of peace. Yeah. Forever, for eternal peace, the couch of eternal peace. Eternal rest. That's even better. Couch of eternal
Well,
rest.
how do you sleep? Do you sleep well? Do you get good rest?
Well, I do in the summer when the cat isn't waking me up every 3 hours. But yeah, I tend to sleep fairly well. I mean, I dream a lot, so sometimes I guess you don't rest because your brain is still working on shit. So sometimes it's not very restful. But I like sleeping. I got nothing negative to say about sleeping. But yeah, I probably don't get enough sleep.
Because quite frankly, we're somewhat jealous at your output. Uh, we do these little things, the funnies and such, and it requires a lot of exertion on our part to produce just a few minutes of something.
Yeah,
Not that
well,
I compare, quantity with anything, but it seems like you must have at least a 20-hour day.
Well, I don't know about that, but I put in my time. But yeah, I don't get much out of me either, though, because it takes me a long time just to get going. It takes an hour in the morning and an hour at night, just to feed yourself. I mean, you know how it is, right? I mean, life, just the little things can suck up a lot of time in your day, just maintaining your existence. And I do have to work a little bit now and then too, which sucks. Um, but yeah, I mean, we do different things. I mean, you have a higher standard you have to function to, in the sense that you're doing something more creative. I'm just spewing my brain, so I don't have to do much prep work, and I'm just so I'm lucky in that sense. I don't have to do much work in preparing to make a video. I just have to turn on my brain and say, start making a video now, and it seems to do it. Whether I don't have to pre-feed it, or I don't have to start it and warm up the engine or anything. I just kind of have to hit the button and say, making a video. So I don't know why I've I think I've gotten better at it, but it is kind of an interesting. It's just interesting to be able to talk.
You do you experience inspiration? Does it appear to you or come to you? Or is this something that you sort of grind out like sausage?
Well, that's what I mean by coming easier now. Is that because it's all like a theory of once you start seeing what life is, right? And so I got this I drew this conclusion a few years ago. This observation about life being just properties and categories. The universe. Everything's just you identify properties, put it in a category, and once you put it in a category, that becomes a property. You know what I mean? So the two are circular. They feed on each other. So when you make a property, you make a category. And that everything just sort of fits in it. So it's a word game, right? It's an identifier game, a label game. And words are just these labels, and you can have a lot of words for a certain attribute, or you can have just one word that covers way too many things. So you can have words that are way too undescriptive, and then you have other words that are over descriptive. You have all these like broken language. And so I find words themselves my inspiration. Somebody will say a word in an argument, and they'll hit the word fair, or they'll hit the word suffering, or they hit some word, and that word will be the inspiration for the video. Because that word will hit these categories and these properties, and then it'll get into this bigger picture of how the context is, their context is the wrong context, and it'll be so obvious to me why it's wrong. And I think I'll be able to explain it in the video, because I can see it. I can see where they're taking the word out of its proper place and putting a broken place. And now I'll be able to fix that. But that's sort of the mechanics of it. It's just all, I'm triggered by words now. Words are really, they're always, words. They're always just floating around me now.
Manage. You still seem to manage, retaining the distinction between the signifying word and then the signified reality. A lot of people we run across these days do not understand that language is no more the reality than money is wealth. These are just counters and markers.
Right. Yeah, but
referring to something else.
But if we had a better language, you know what I'm saying, a more explicit language could do the job. We just don't have it. We just kind of have this sloppy language of, we feel with our heart kind of metaphors. We have a language full of metaphors and words that don't mean anything. They don't have any proper definition. Like love, right? It's just a useless placeholder for a ton of emotions and a ton of different things. So it's just not, people use it all the time, but it's just not a useful word to say anything really meaningful, because it's so undefined. You always have to define it by context. And so I guess that what I'm really saying is that you could say words are the puzzle pieces. I don't know, that's probably not a good metaphor. It's like I already know the image. You know what I mean? So I know what the words conceptually belong. At least I know the area. You know, it belongs in the northwest, or this one belongs in the northeast, or this belongs in the south, or south. You know what I mean? I know the general location. So even if a word's not good enough, it's good enough for the purpose. You know, I know the difference between a hoof and a tail. But I think having that bigger picture thing where I'm just so confident of the idea that I've already resolved what the dots connect. You know, when you connect all the dots, I already know what it's a picture of. So when I connect word dots, I kind of know how to use them because I know how they're connected. I know their lineage. And it, you know, especially now, it just all feeds into this evolution argument. You know, and this argument between the distinction between our psychology and our philosophy. You know, our ability to think about something and our ability to emotionally feel and feed on it. And that the feeding animal is different than the producing animal. You know, the thinking thing is producing something. You know, the feeling thing is consuming something. Those would be my metaphors, I suppose.
Is that uh, is that a division that cannot be overcome? Do you see any grand synthesis between the two?
Yeah, only in the sense that the smart thing would recognize that the dumb thing is an idiot. I mean, I guess I'm really cynical on psychology. I kind of think that every element of my psychology is bullshit. That it really is just this ego monster, right? And he rationalizes in his benefit often. You know, he'll use the intelligence to put together an argument to defend some aspect that I know is just bullshit. And I just that's the fundamental character of the machine, is to find defenses and rationalizations. And the defense against that is the intellect being smart enough to say, you're not allowed in the library. No apes allowed. You know, fuck you, ape. You know, stay out of here. You know, no dirty fingers on these precious books. And it's really got to be that kind of, I mean, it's like the Star Trek metaphor, but yeah, I mean, I'm basically advocating that the Mr. Spock, the Vulcan way, is the right way. And to indulge our psychology is basically to just let the monster loose.
Well, it was common knowledge in the sculpture studio that we weren't allowed into the photography studio with the photography students. And it was all because we were so contaminated with heavy metals. They insisted that just our mere presence would spoil all their solutions.
That's funny. I thought it would be the other way around. I thought there would be actually a reason that was based on some sort of like pollution of your creativity. You know, that the the two-dimensional images would spoil your capacity to, you know, recognize what a three-dimensional image requires to render.
That's really funny.
But just the
It
chemistry.
is true, a lot of people did not survive the conditions of art schools back in the old days. The sculpture yards and the print shops were all full of people that in a couple of years had Mad Hatters, and yeah, rough, rough period art schools you went through.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, I mean,
Well,
if
and the
they
youngsters think
Now
they
everything is so
invented heavy
regulated,
metals.
it's insane. You can't do shit.
well, I mean,
Well, that's
the Curies
well, believe
survived
me,
radium, so I mean, you should be able to survive almost anything if they could survive radium.
if it wasn't the OSHA exemption for institutions, our whole art college would have been shut down as an industrial hazard. I recall one incident. We were all learning how to low fire a raccoon glaze, and for that you need an anaerobic atmosphere, one lacking oxygen, so that the metals in the glaze would reduce rather than oxidize. And when a copper reduces, it becomes shiny. When it oxidizes, it becomes that ugly dull green. So one way to do that is you drop your hot glazed pot into sawdust, dung, and motor oil, and it immediately produces a smoke that occludes the oxygen, and there you get your reductive atmosphere. Well, that was all easy enough. The trouble is we had a black smoke column reaching a quarter mile high, if not higher, and we had half of the Austin Municipal Fire Department responding to what we were doing. We had to explain and apologize to them that we weren't really burning down. We were just making raccoon pottery.
I had the piece come out.
Yeah, it probably
Oh,
cracked.
lovely. Well, we put at the end of the semester we put all our works on the tables to display to the instructor, and we stood around looking at it and said, "Damn if it doesn't look like a yard sale of depression glass."
Totally worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, chemistry is fun. Um, yeah, I just the whole glazing thing is just such a hassle. I mean, I couldn't stand the idea that so much of it breaks. I would just find that too irritating. You know, that you work on something, you make it, and it breaks. I mean, that would just piss me off.
Yeah, I gave up on all of that a long time ago. Anything to do with kilns, I just, ugh, the whole glazing process is so tedious.
Yeah, it was my
I really
neighbor.
just don't like ceramics, period. Any kind of convergence with ceramics and sculpture, I just fucking hate.
Because my neighbor did that for a while. He had a pretty good. He got, bought a kiln, an electric one. And I had to do some rewiring for it, but so he had one, so we played around with porcelains and different things. But, yeah, I just found it like, damn, I would not want to do this for a living. It was just, so much waste. So much of your work turns to shit.
Well, there was much rivalry between the sculptors and the ceramicists. The sculptors would talk them, calling them all mudheads, and the ceramicists would rejoin, "Yeah, so what, sculptor? You don't have a pot to piss in."
Yeah, I like the idea of mold making. I mean, that was sort of an interesting process. Just the idea of it. The idea is, as I played around with that a little bit with plaster, just because, to make a good casting of something, it's really intricate to be able to make a model where you can take it apart, and to have something three-dimensional like an animal, like a polar bear or whatever I was making. And, for some of them, it was a real challenge to be able to make the model, to the pieces fit together and still not leak and not create seams and not do all this negative stuff. So I did find that a little bit interesting. I
Yeah,
want to
it's
get
so
back into
hard.
that again. Just because it was. I like the idea of making a good mold, and be able to cast 1,000 pieces. I just like the idea that you can just, make more of them.
You should get a 3D printer.
Yeah, well, they're not all they're cracked up to be.
No, they're not. You can do some cool shit with them. But yeah, I used to make like silicone molds. Like make little sculptures of shit and then packed it in silicone and
Yeah,
make
well,
cores
they have
that
all
way.
kinds of these rubbers, this chemistry, you know what I mean? So you can, like, pour a rubber mold on top of it, and then you can cut it and, make a casting, create a plaster cast for the mold to give it structure, form. But yeah, it's all like rubber, so everything peels out of it really easy, so it's good for releasing. It's not a
Yeah,
hard
I have
mold.
some of that stuff actually. So when the second years were moving out, uh, last well, 2 semesters ago, somebody gave me a whole bunch of that, but I haven't really known what to do with it.
Yeah,
So yeah,
it does take a little time, though. You got to work with it a little bit to figure out how to make it work right. You know, to brush it on the right thickness and get the right, to make a good mold. But it is, like I said, I did found it fruitful. Like I said, I made a few castings of different things, and it was nice that I had 10 copies because I could give them away. And I had 10 of them to give away. It's kind of nice.
Well, the practice was the bronzes were usually done in editions of 6 or 12 because it's just about as easy to make a dozen of the thing as it is to make one.
Yeah, well, any casting is like that. I mean, you want to be able to get the use out of the mold. You might as well get its lifespan out of it because the real work is making the mold. Once you make it, it doesn't have any real value unless you make enough of them to make it worth it. What?
Beautiful.
yeah, it's way too much engineering for little old me. I just can never get the undercuts, right in mold making, and I always have leaks. I've done a little bit of bronze. I think I have like 2 or 3 bronze pieces. Fuck if I know where they are right now. But
Yeah, I like
I
doing.
don't I don't really
I
like
would.
I don't really like really heavy process driven. I mean, I like the work, but I don't really enjoy like lithography. It's just too much of a process. Molding is just too much of a process. That's just me.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. See, I like the. I did some sand casting, in high school. And it's really kind of pisses. Maybe it was grammar school actually. Yeah, so I did some sand casting in shop in grammar school, and I really found that fascinating. Because I really like the idea that you can do these metal castings out of sand. And the mold is good for you can get 20 or 30 copies out of it before it starts to degrade. And I'd like to do something like that again. I'd like, bronzes and brasses because, it's kind of neat too is because the metal just sticks to the outside. A lot of them are hollow. They're still heavy, but they're basically hollow, because the cast metal, just sits right on the outside. It freezes right on the outside. So you just move the model around as the molten metal's inside of it. And so it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, you definitely should. You
Also,
should
not,
do
not so much
aluminum like Irwin, because aluminum's not particular. It's not really that hard to get an aluminum setup.
Yeah, I guess I don't know what the casting temperature of aluminum is though.
I just watched.
as
I
1200.
watched a couple of videos on it not long ago. It's not.
Yeah, 1200. So what's
It's
it for?
about 1200
What's it
Fahrenheit.
what's it for brass? Brass is like 800.
Brass is more at 15 to 17.
Wow. Okay. Yeah,
It's quite a step up.
I thought it'd be lower. Yeah, maybe I'll cast copper. I got a lot of refuse copper around, so maybe I'll make copper castings.
I do too.
Well,
So if you ever, yeah, I have no idea what to do with my copper. I have pounds and pounds and pounds and pounds of useless copper.
Copper is never useless.
No, it's valuable. I know. I didn't mean it like that, but I don't need it anymore. Is what I mean.
Yeah, there's lots of stuff I want to do with
well,
copper. It's a very interesting metal.
one stroke of luck. You know these old projection TVs
Yeah.
that was essentially it projected into a magnifying glass, a Fresnel lens. I've scavenged one of those, and I intend to use it as a solar smelter.
Wait, do you mean the
So
kind of TVs that were like it had like the red light and the green light and the blue light?
exactly.
Yeah,
That
those are
that
amazing.
front of it is a lens, and I was watching some YouTube videos, and they're mostly just some young folk mucking around playing, but they were able to smelt bronze
Yeah, I was thinking of
with
doing
the
that
with
with
the
a water lens. It's because I've seen that too. Just for an hour a day or 2 hours a day is the only time you can do it in the summer. But you could just you support a hunk of clear plastic, and you fill it with water, and it creates the perfect half of a lens, the parabola. And I was thinking that if you do it right, you could probably get a 2-meter lens out of it. You probably make a pretty big lens, and you should be able to focus a lot of, you should be able to get a lot of heat out of that. But that's something to play with this summer. I have to find time to do this shit. But if I can come up...
I'm convinced, Mr. Gary, and you, Miss Amanda, all y'all need is a patron.
Yeah. Well, I think that you could say that the first day you're born. What do you really need? A circumcision or a patron? Yeah, I need the patron. Yeah.
Oh, it isn't that impossible. Very nice.
Well, you always, I don't, this is where psychology plays a role, because there's certainly days where I figure some leprechaun must have buried some gold somewhere in this woods, So, I have days like that.
You're going to become a northern version of God's Little Acre?
Yeah, well, you just try to find, you just gotta say, I gotta get lucky sometime, right? You can only pull the handle and lose so many times in a row. But it would be nice for me to hire it done.
Yeah, one great disabusement I found in my career was, yes, I've gone ahead and with years and good masters and much study, I've mastered the craft somewhat and have actually produced. But then I find myself in the midst of a culture where there is neither call nor capacity for it.
Yeah, I know, it is a bummer.
I more or less have these works stacked up like trash about me.
Yeah, well, that's my life here. It's it's littered with my old artworks there, and it's, well, you can't see the puffins from here, but I got lots of puffins. Puffins were a lot less popular than I thought they would be. Oh, I'm getting harassed early in the morning. Hello? Hey.
Ah. No.
Not very smart. Yeah. Too much psychology. Ew. It's a psychology call. Ew.
What did she say?
I don't know. I couldn't make heads or tails of it.
Well, I'm as far as the psychology part goes, I still remember my original motivation for studying the art. After boring myself with a couple of years of chemistry, I figured if I studied art, I could at least drink coffee and look at naked women.
Yeah, well, I think you can do both. I don't think they're in conflicts. I think you can have a pretty clinical brain, and you can just kind of make sure it doesn't get into your bedroom, and just make sure you keep it out of the fantasy life, because yeah, it really can be a spoiler.
I mean, if
You
I
could
was
always
good at
tell
anything not art related, I mean, it'd be great to do something actually useful. I mean, that does sound pretty good, but it's pretty much all I can do. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, being useful is no fun either, though, because then you just get taken advantage of, because you can do something and everybody thinks they're entitled to it, and you just, it's the same kind of thing, they just keep stealing your soul, so to speak. Just like taking your art for nothing, thinking of nothing of it, think of, the time that's invested in it. And people do the same thing with whether you're doing work for them, they just they don't really monetize things properly. It's like people don't have any respect for what an hour of your time might be worth. You know, I mean, I bet you run into that all the time. You know what I'm saying? That's like, well, what, you're going to pay, essentially you're asking me to do something for, $5 an hour or something. Wait, is that what you think I'm worth? You know? So it's, there's a sort of an insult. And so now I really feel it right now, just as I'm saying, yeah, look, I'm going to win a Nobel Prize. Right? So why I shouldn't be scrubbing your floor. What? Me scrub a floor? I'm going to win the Nobel Prize, fucker. Would you make Einstein scrub your floor? Come on. So now I'm getting kind of big-headed about it. So now I find work even more obnoxious. It was already obnoxious before, but now I find it even more obnoxious that I should waste my brain on this menial labor. Come on. I'm more
I
valuable
don't
than
blame you
that.
for that at all. I mean, you've been doing it for what, 30 years? I mean, it's enough.
Well, I just mean that it's just funny how my attitude has changed. I'm just saying, like, I used to get off on just being useful. You know what I'm saying? So I get your point that it's really fun to be useful. So yeah, if I could fix something, it really felt good, because I was saving people money and saving them trouble, and so it just made me valuable, and I could feel good about myself because people were dependent on me and blah blah blah. But yeah, I just don't get off on it anymore. It just doesn't, I just find it as a distraction from what I really should be doing, which is lecturing and telling people they suck.
Well, yeah,
Well,
that
we,
makes sense.
we see the yeah. Those who can appreciate uh, the depth of the art usually are artists themselves, and what good are they going to do?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You're in trouble when artists are buying your art. Then you're really doomed. Yeah, so call him out, right? Can I call you out, shit troll guy? Um, what's the deal? I'll bet you any kind of money you want to bet. You got anything to invest in it? You
That
th-
is the
you,
sure sign of being fucked.
you think if you think it's nothing, I'll bet. So anyway,
Now, well, again, the arts there are the practical arts. We do weave rugs. We work the loom.
no,
We prep
we paint
I sure as fuck don't.
we paint the soda can. Yeah, we logo the Facebook. Ooh, yes, we logoed. We Twitter the
Boom
twit.
shoot.
We tweet the Twitter. Yeah, yeah.
Fucking ceramics wheel. Just end my life. I get anywhere near it.
Yeah, artists have become evil almost, right? Because the only paying art is evil art.
Well, don't laugh too much, but I had to go to college to learn how to shovel. I never did so much digging till I decided to pursue casting.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, it was dig a hole and fill it in, hurry up and wait.
Yeah.
And some things have fallen out of it, like being a stage carpenter for the opera. I now have a very practical skill set of lightweight construction. Of course, there's no call for it
Yeah.
here. but if you need a facade, I can whip one up inside a couple of hours.
Yeah. No, it's good to be able to. Uh, those are all
The,
little.
the most
Yeah, it's like we
a little
acquire
something
skills
about
just so we can be useful in other people's productions. But yeah.
exactly. In Corn Dog Hell, our most usefulness came about when we helped restore the crumbling brick veneer facade of a local's house. The mortar, it was a demonstration house that had been bought, and it was a slapdash job. There was too much sand in the mortar and probably salt water, so the bricks were just peeling off. We managed to reset the brick, bricklayer's job, but it's sculpture, it's architecture.
Yeah, well, so
Carved a stone lintel for the door with the family name on it, something that doesn't exist anywhere else here in Corndog Hill. You know, and I did it all because I was just so goddamn bored. I did it for kicks in the company.
yeah,
Never
yeah.
did get paid.
I really, that's something else I want to do. I want to play with rocks and try to whittle rocks. But all the rocks here are so damn hard. It's all this iron, and all the rocks here, and so they're
Just
hard.
use it.
No one.
They're hard as fucking rocks.
Run. Okay. Uh,
That's
a
great.
great start is either alabaster or limestone.
Yeah.
Alabaster's pricey, but limestone, oh, it's like carving hard chalk.
Yeah, I know. I've played with it a little just to know the difference between one rock and another. I'm just saying that I'd like to do it with some sort of native rock, but it's like all the native rocks are. It's actually like this actually was an iron refinery all around here because the rocks have so much iron in them, so they're all hard as rocks. I was just making that joke. But the other thing I did play with is cement, and cement's a wonderful medium. I mean, I'd love to do cement castings too. Because I was thinking of doing them in the ground. I would just cut do the relief art cold. Not make a regular impression, but actually carve it into the ground and then do the casting. I think that would be kind of an interesting way to do the art, is to be able to do the art upside down for, what I mean, as a negative relief on purpose.
Oh, yes. A very unique technique that was related to me when I was studying in Florida. Uh, large, large panels of bas relief uh, was made with concrete. They would set up packed sand, and then much like your plaster castings in school, and then carve into the sand, and then gently sprinkle your dry mix
Right.
over it so as not to disturb the impression. And then with a very careful, slow, misting, soaking spray, water it
Yeah.
until it becomes saturated. And then simply let it cure. And once properly cured, you could just lift the panel up out of your sand base.
Yeah, I figure I can do it because the soil here's got a lot of clay in it. So I figure I can make a relief, and just pour concrete right into it, But I'll see. I have to test my theory yet. But it'd just be an interesting challenge to be able to do because when you really look at a relief, an inverse of anything, it's kind of startling how it doesn't seem right. You know what I mean? When you do, it's like the negative image. It's like the proportions seem way off, like the eye sockets seem way too deep, and so it's kind of tricky to make a relief because it isn't exactly intuitive.
Oh, quite. You get that strange effect of when you take a life mask and you peel it off the face. It's obviously the negative, but if you look at it at the right distance and in the right way, it'll pop into a positive image of the face. And it's all mental.
Yeah.
But the idea of pouring the wet cement into the clay, they had tried that with their sand, but the concrete was so heavy, it obliterated whatever detail they had hoped for.
Yeah, well, that's
And
why.
that's why they adopted the
Yeah. I figured I can do it a little slower. I don't need to. I won't be any urgency for time, so I figured I would just do it the lowest first. 2 inches at a time. So I would just cast it 2 inches at a time, and much like they cast foundations in buildings. So the pressure can't crush what's underneath it. And so that's my theory anyway. I haven't gotten around to it. who knows if I will, but it's just something I thought would be kind of interesting, just as landscape features. You know, as nice concrete statues might be a winner in this town, just because there's a lot of rich people here. Maybe wouldn't want to, wouldn't mind paying $500 for a concrete ornament.
You bet. It's done often. Our Thai master, Tanala Hataku, when he was a recent graduate, he obtained a position with the Parks Department in Thailand, and using plaster waste molds, they would construct large-scale concrete sculptures out of humble materials, low-cost materials, sand, plaster, and concrete, of things as detailed and large as elephants.
Yeah, that's where I really
And,
wanted to go.
and a lot of people dismiss concrete as a humble material, but it is synthetic, it's inexpensive, and it's damn durable in the outdoors.
Yeah, that's what I like about it. And you can also paint it if you want to. You can color it, and pigment it and do things with it. So it's not like it's a dead gray medium. You can, in your textures, you can put different textures on it. So, you can give it a slick look or a flat look, or you can. So there's a lot you can do with it, and especially like once you cast it, you can always augment it. So even if your casting is imperfect, you can fix it, by just adding material or subtracting material.
It's additive. It's additive as well as subtractive in the process.
Yeah, I like it.
In fact, there's a delightful park in Thailand all about the horrors of hell. And this isn't a Christian hell, this is a Buddhist hell. So there's all sorts of just wild ass stuff. And it was made by a couple of knaves, untrained folk, out of concrete and paint.
I've seen those. They're amazing. I didn't know that's how they were made, though.
Yeah, well, years ago, I sort of had
Really grisly.
I had a sort of an ambition that maybe I could get a piece of land in this town or something, and I could make a little miniature golf. I wanted to make a miniature golf all out of concrete, and I just thought about the artistic possibilities, of just this medium of concrete. I really liked the idea. It really appealed to me.
Do it.
Yeah, well, I'll need my benefactor. I'll have to wait until the check cashes.
We played a round of miniature golf in Monterey, and their course was made out of cast concrete.
Yeah, it's a great
rather
medium because
ingenious.
you just put some little cheap
Yeah.
velvet, some what do you call that stuff? Felt. You just put down some nice felt on the concrete, and it makes a really nice. It's very durable. You don't have to worry about the weather. You know.
Yeah, well, they were too cheap for even that, so we had to play upon concrete surfaces, which meant for a rather lively ball.
Yeah, that's the only
Well, other
downside.
than
Yeah,
that, it,
if you don't felt it, obviously you're going to get some funky bounces. As concrete is a little erodible or whatever the right word would be. It will take some dents over time.
so it isn't that difficult, especially the figurative. If you can master armature, you can always lay up concrete over an armature.
Yeah, no, I've
And
really wanted to do it. It's just that you obviously have to control how much at a time and all that kind of. I've done some repair work, actually. So there was some people that had some lawn ornaments, and I had to put a new arm on it, and I had to do some other little things, and so I have some experience. But it's really you have to get the mix just the right viscosity. You have to apply it just before it cures. If you put it on too soon, it falls off. You got to wait till it's almost ready to cure. It's really specific. But I did some pool. I did work on the pool, of course. And the tile on the pool is the same way. It's kind of a tricky business doing cementing right at the water line, in a pool that's being used, when you're trying to do some, tile work. And it's really, you have to get it just right so you can actually put the cement so it's in the water, but it's right at its cure moment so it doesn't wash out. It's just at its impermeability stage where as long as the waves aren't, as long as the water isn't aggressive, what you put there will stay there, and it'll cure under the water. That's no problem. So anyway, but it is a real, you do learn. I mean, it's kind of a skill thing or whatever. You learn that, and it's kind of, as a learning experience, I found it interesting. Just the chemistry of concrete.
And mosaic is another wonderful application along those lines. I mean, look at what Rode did with his towers and watts. He was but an iron worker, and yet the Watts towers were a matter of him bending and fastening iron, and then coating it in concrete and tiling.
Yeah, I didn't have much. I never had much appreciation for tile until as a kid, we used to drink a lot of beer back in this one spot in the woods. We'd always be drinking there, and so I'd start taking the bottle caps and pushing them into the ground, and it was making a nice tile floor, and it was really kind of interesting because I'd start rearranging them based on the colors, and try to make images out of it. And it was just kind of a, at least geographic symbols and, some sort of geometry. And it was just fun to kind of play with that, and before that I didn't have much appreciation for mosaics, but I gained a little appreciation for it.
I did a whole series like that once. I gotta dig those out now.
But I thought the idea of just concrete with the bottle caps just was another thing I really liked the idea of, just because the bottle caps would probably last at least 10 years anyway, at least. Just make a nice surface, give it that nice smooth surface. But sea glass is another one. Sea glass and concrete go together well too, so that's another thing I played with.
Recycling is non-existent here, at least for glass. So we're sort of swimming in a lot of empty coffee jars. So one way I've been thinking about dealing with the issue is just pounding it all up and using it as an aggregate for large concrete works here in the garden.
Yeah.
And that way I can
yeah, you just got to worry about the sharp edges, I suppose. I guess you could grind down the surface a little just to get rid of any sharp edges that come out in the beginning. I guess you'd have to just kind of like put a sand on it and just grind the sand into the surface just to round everything off so you don't have any sharp edges sticking out or something. But yeah, I used to use my refuse plaster, as an aggregate, in the concrete, because it holds up pretty well, in the plaster, and it, adds a little bit of lime to it, which makes it a little, stronger. So it was kind of a, I don't know if it's an ideal use, but at least it got rid of the extra plaster. But I think you can reclimate plaster. I think you can smash it back up and then heat it. I'm not sure, but I think if you reheat it, you can reuse it.
Yes. Then that's a lot of energy too.
Yeah.
You have to drive out the molecular water.
Yeah, I figure if I did it outside, it wouldn't, I wouldn't have to use real fuel to do it. I could just put it in some iron vessel of some kind and just cook it. But I haven't tried it, so it's another experiment yet to be done. So I guess it is getting to be morning and such, so maybe I'll call it an evening. And I'll try again next week and such. But yeah, it was really great having you, Erwin. Thank you. Half of you anyway. the top
apparently
half.
the trick seems to be to take a short nap, and then that way I can raise up and talk to all you night owls.
Yeah. Well, that's my routine. I always take an hour nap before I come here, so it helps. you know. Um, and I take a few during the day if I can, but I do that anyway. Yeah, grab a nap whenever if I can grab a half hour, I grab it. Gotta wait for something to cook. Yeah, I'll sleep for a half an hour. Um, so anyway, but yeah, it is a long night, and I appreciate you hanging in there. So,
Well, it's our pleasure. Our
to
pleasure.
yeah, we'll have to get you to do something poetic next time. Just you have the
Right.
perfect voice. You have such a voice.
We're always ready to inflict.
Yes. Well, yeah, I guess you did it anyway, but yes, it just means something official. The official poem. Um,
It was really good seeing you, Erwin. And now that I know about the domain, I'll get the video up this week and finish up.
yeah. So, old fan,
So,
my video should be okay. If I haven't tested the last rendering, but if I give up at some point, I'll just give up and send you the raw files and say just post them. But hopefully, I'll be able to make this thing work and upload it today.
okay, sounds good. I have some stuff. I didn't get as much done as I thought I was going to, but a lot of things got in the way. But
Yeah.
I mean, I've got some stuff. It's gonna be a pretty sparse episode.
Yeah,
But
well, just for future reference, we do have to like get a little like yeah. So maybe one episode I'll do the finishing. You know what I'm saying? Just so we both know how to do it. I'll do the editing. The final edit. Just so we both have experience, and just so if one of us can't do it some month, the other person knows what to do. Because obviously the first time I do it, it's going to be more difficult than the next time.
No, I agree with you. In fact, I wanted to make a video to you about this, but I don't have my notes in front of me. I'll let you know. But there's going to be 2 months towards the end of school where there's like the due date for the show is the same due date as like when the movie like I got to get it into the
Yeah.
theater. So yeah, I'll let you know about all those times. I think it's a good idea. Yeah, for us to because you should know how that goes too. So yeah, sounds good.
Okay.
Well, I'll wish you all good night then.
Okay,
Have a good night, everyone.
likewise.
Good seeing you.
Well, good day anyway. It's good
Yeah.
morning. Yeah, so hopefully everything won't turn to shit here with the weather and whatnot. But till next time and such.
Have a good sleep, Gary. Take good care.
Thanks.
Okay, bye all.